Hello and welcome to the Retreading Business YouTube channel. For episode 5 of the Retread cast, we were happy to welcome back David Stevens from TRIB to give us the latest updates on the US market. Here's what he had to say in full. Today, we're delighted to welcome back the Managing Director of TRIB, David Stevens, to the Retread cast for the latest in what will be a regular series of updates from the North American market. David, a very good afternoon to you and welcome back.
Thanks. It's great to be back with you guys.
Excellent. So it's only been a few weeks since we spoke to you last, but things are moving so fast in the environment in which we currently find ourselves. It's difficult to keep track of the latest developments in the market at times. So tell me, what's the latest news from the US?
Well, I think the last time we talked, there still remained a lot of uncertainty from a lot of retreaders still trying to figure out the overall impacts to their business, adjusting to the new realities of coronavirus. And I think, in conversations I've had with some of our members over the last couple of weeks, they've started to see, have a better understanding of how their businesses are being impacted, settling into some of those changes of new ways of doing business, and in some cases, not seeing as dire an impact as they initially predicted. I think many retreaders, if you look in the aggregate over the US, are down anywhere between 5 and 10% compared to a similar time frame for 2019. But even in the last couple of weeks, we've seen those numbers start to pick up again in terms of, with parts of the US reopening and commerce happening on a greater level. Now the question is, obviously we're seeing a lot of hotspots in the US, and is that going to lead to more closures and sort of bringing stuff back? So there's still a great deal of uncertainty. But I think there's still optimism in the retread sector. Things weren't as bad as they predicted, and it's still very regional and fleet specific. So if you're operating in one of those, COVID hotspots where things are shut down and there's strict stay-at-home orders, it's obviously impacting you a lot more than places that have opened up and commerce is flowing again. And again, it's very fleet specific. So those waste haulers obviously are still taking a lot of waste, but buses, the entire bus industry has really been hurt. But from a consumer's perspective, if those people aren't going out to the stores, they're having more and more products delivered to them, and those vehicles that need to deliver those products need a lot of tires. So I think that there's still some cautious optimism, depending on what happens within the U.S. in terms of coronavirus through the rest of the year. It looks like we will be down year over year for the full year, but there's a lot of a feeling that things are starting to claw their way back, and hopefully they'll stay clawed back as we move through the end of the year. I think one of the things that has helped a lot of the retreaders here in the U.S. is taking advantage of the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, that the government has implemented. And the idea is that it was a series of low-interest loans given to companies that had 500 or fewer employees. And really it was to help them cover their payroll costs, not lay off people or shut down operations, give them an injection of cash to be able to keep operations going through what we hoped would be a shorter lived pandemic. And at TRIB, we did a lot of information and education for our members about the PPP program, how to apply for it, what metrics you needed. And we really encouraged our members to take advantage of it. And the Small Business Administration has released some statistics. And so we know that in the US, almost 200 retreaders took advantage of the PPP program here in the US. And we're talking about millions of dollars of loans that went out to all of those people. I think the total number was but somewhere between 140 million and 246 million dollars that went to that group of 200 retreaders, depending on their size and needs. And that really provided a strong lifeline for the retread industry to be able to continue their operations and hopefully bounce back even stronger than before.
Excellent. That sounds like a good impetus to move the industry forward and to help it get over what a difficult time is. It seems like the whole market is very much a moving feast, isn't it? At the moment, you know, things change so quickly, and from region to region, it's the same in Europe. You know, one minute you find certain countries seem to be getting over it, and then they remove the lockdown, and then suddenly it's you know, you get a spike again, and people are looking at the market differently. So I guess it's. I guess we won't really find out what will happen for quite a while to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me, what else is on the cards for TRIB at the moment?
Well, I mean, I think the things that we're trying to do is stay on top of a lot of information for our members and make sure that we get that to them to help them with their businesses. We also, you know, we have a really strong partnership and relationship with the TRMG group, which is the Tread Rubber and Repair Materials Manufacturing Group, and they are known for creating their industry recommended practices across a number of different tire repair, retreading, recommended practices to deliver a quality product. And all of those recommended practices are available through TRIB's website. And just this week, they announced that they've created a new buff texture sheet. Many of your viewers and readers might be familiar with what was called the RMA buff texture sheet.
So I remember it well. Yeah.
so the TRMG group has updated that buff texture sheet and are manufacturing it through one of their members, Tech International, here in the US. They've updated all of their recommended practices documents to reflect that new sheet, and that sheet is available for purchase through the TRIB store. And for TRIB members, there's a 25% discount to be able to buy that sheet. So it's just another tool in the toolkit to make sure that retreaders can deliver a quality product when they're buffing their tires down, so that they understand the buff texture that they need to get to create a quality end product.
So that's available to TRIB members worldwide?
Yeah, it's available to anybody. We will ship worldwide, and it's just if you go onto the TRIB store, you can find it there. And if you're a current TRIB member, you just get in touch with us, and we can give you that discount that you are eligible for to purchase those.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a big demand for that. I remember when I was with the RMA, we used to get inquiries about the buffing texture sheet time and time again. So I think that will be a useful addition to for many retreaders. Yeah. So thanks very much, David, for the update. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again in 2 or 3 weeks' time. And we look forward to welcoming you back to the Retread Cast.
Thanks. I look forward to joining you guys again, and hopefully we'll have more good news for the retread industry here in the US. Thanks a lot.